Hey, what's up? What's up? All right, I gotta move this green screen over just a tad. 1 second. Did we do it? We did it. Nice. All right, morning, people. Hope y'all are doing well. It's an early morning over here. We're on 8:30 right now. I was trying to hit 8 a.m., and by hitting 8 a.m., I knew I might hit 8:30. So here we are. Pilcrow, welcome in. I am actually coming at you from a new device. Oh, wait. Can y'all hear me? I actually need to fix this. Can y'all hear me? You can. Oh, perfect. Oh, okay. I thought I had to add an audio device. Cool. All right. I don't have to do that. Well, that's good. All right. So I might actually have to do something on a different scene, but to explain why I'm confused right now, Coding Cat, Nivek, welcome in. I'm on a new computer here. I'm on my work machine. So I set up all my OBS scenes and input devices again. And yeah, I forgot how much is involved in setting up all the devices. Didn't know you were East Coast. Yeah, I'm East Coast. Still am. Always have been. Always have been East Coast. It's just a good place to be. You know what I mean? I'm in my hometown of Charleston right now. But let me see here. I also need to add my background tunes. I know that I have it. I think if I go to audio output capture, yeah, browser audio. Yeah, there we go. Now you have music. Welcome to music. So I can bump that up to like -50 on the meter, and there we go. Okay, it also looks like y'all are getting my mic audio, but not the good audio. So I'll see if this sounds even mildly better. But I've got audio hijack among other tools. So if I go ahead and do this. Okay. Just turn that off. All right. So now I'm on the thing that reduces a little bit of background noise and will remove the bass boost when I start typing stuff. So that's probably necessary. I'm hoping that comes through all right. No delays or anything like that. The man, the myth, the legend. I say the same to you, Tired Beaver. I hope you're awake, Beaver. We've got our coffee. Shout out to the coffee crews out there. Sounds too squeaky. I don't know what that means. What does squeaky mean? Does it sound worse? Can we get another opinion from the chat? Do I now sound worse than I did? If I do, I'll just go back to the other mic. I am absolutely terrible at audio mixing, but aren't we all? I used very basic settings. I just reduced some bass so that we don't get any of that. But yeah, to me, everything sounds good. All right. Well, I guess I'll stick with it. But yeah, the squeaky makes me a little worried. I don't know, what can I do? I can remove the denoise, but I can leave on the EQ. Sing for us, Ben. How does that sound? I think I preferred the previous audio. Well, let me go ahead and remove the denoise. Okay, I've turned off the denoise, and now I'm just running it through an EQ to remove bass. Not doing anything else. I'm hoping that sounds better. Makes sense. Yeah, the denoise is going to crunch things up a little bit. So, yeah. Makes sense. And I used to use denoise because for whatever reason on my MacBook Air, the audio was coming through really quiet. But on this MacBook Pro, the audio is coming through perfectly. It's actually coming through kind of loud. I might need to reduce it a little bit. It could just be that I moved the mic a little bit closer to my face, which, you know, when you're using this kind of mic, that matters. So yeah, okay, I turned off the denoise, and we're just going to use the EQ to reduce some bass. Nice. Glad to keep it simple. Speaking of simple, hey, have y'all seen the tweets about Simple Stack? Have y'all been hearing about the Simple Stack lately? All the kids are trying it. All the kids are doing it. Hi, Ben. What's up, Soy Warman? Welcome in. Welcome in. What's up today? What is up today? That's a good question. What's up is the Simple Stack. And we're going to talk about what that is. Because ever since I went to the React Summit in New York, by the way, if any of y'all were at that, if any of y'all were out there, hope y'all had a good time. It was really cool. We got to speak at a planetarium, got to meet all the lovelies, or at least whatever lovelies were around. Never heard of it? No problem. I just invented it. Sip to a pinky up. Hey, close enough. Ugh. There we are. Let's start with a good tea, yeah. Oh my god. Oh my god. Bill Crow. Okay, that's 3 sips. That's 3 sips. We got this. With the ASMR. I know the mic picked that up. Okay, it was just 3. Was it just 3? No, my god! Okay. This one's for you. I'm gonna stare right in the eyes. How was that? How was that? Are you awake now? If any of y'all were sleepy coming in this stream, if there are any tired beavers out there, y'all are awake beavers now. I could do it 15 more times. Stop. At least like, you know, distribute them throughout the stream, like when I'm least expecting it, so we're not just on a sipathon. Feel happy I'm out of points. I am. I'm grateful. I'm very grateful for that. Yeesh. Yeah, I might... Actually, I mean, it's a low-effort redemption, so I don't think I'm going to bump the price yet. But at some point, if people are abusing that, if we're sipping too much tea, if we run out of tea, oh my god, we gotta dial it back. Gotta scale it back. But yeah, let's pull up Simple Stack here. Oh man, I'm peaking on my levels. So let me reduce my audio, actually. This is the first time I've had to do this. But yeah, I'm going to reduce my audio so I'm not completely destroying you. Mukbang? Literally. My old roommate used to watch a little bit of that. He used to watch cooking videos while cooking, which makes some sense. But, like, cooking totally unrelated things and just talking about whatever they made. You know what I mean? Mukbang is where they eat, though, which is a little... I don't know anyone who's into that. I'm not into that myself. It's a little just like, I don't know, man. Chill out. Okay. Oh, my keyboard's not linked up to this computer. Oh, no. MacBook Bluetooth sucks so much. 1 second while I connect my keyboard. I didn't even know that. There we go. I think we're good now. Okay. There we go. What do we got? We got typing. I'm still tongue-tied. I'm still waking up a little bit. But okay, let me show you. Let me show you what we're cooking, because we're cooking. We are cooking. Head over here. Head over there. Also, tell all the people to come to the stream. Oh, thank you for rating. Thank you. 25 peeps. Welcome in. All right, and let's try to get some more people. If you want to share on that tweet. We're doing our hot view transition takes this morning. But hey there, Ayo, what are y'all working on? Where are y'all coming from? Where are y'all coming from? Good to see you this morning. I hope y'all are ready for some code, because that's what we're here to do. Germany. Very cool. All right. I know I'm streaming in the morning for the US people, so I'm betting I get more Europeans and other people who are on the afternoon and evening shift. Yeah. Morning's just the best time for me to get going. Gets people going. I was working on FHO, and now I am dead in the brain. I don't even know what FHO is. I'm not very informed. FHO surgery? FHO programming? What is this? Firehawk optimizer. Okay, because I'm getting some really scary medical procedures when I look up FHO. Firehawk optimizer. Interesting. What is that? Ooh. Whoa. Okay. All right. You're an algo person. Looks like. I found a novel. I found a whole book. We were a related stream. Yeah, let me go to my screen share and make sure my mic is actually working. 1 second. Okay, yeah, mic carries over. Good. But yeah, this is what we're looking at. For whatever reason, the brightness of this website. Oh, cookies. Yeah, whatever. We're on the Firehawk optimizer here. The meta heuristic algorithm. Just your average everyday meta heuristic algorithm. You know how it goes. I'm not an algo person. That's why you're dead in the brain, right? I like to work on tools so I have user-facing process. But hey, me too. Love doing that. We are a design-related stream, and we had a full chatting stream. Oh, I love chatting streams. I want to do those sometimes. I'm pushing on code more recently, but I do love streams that just derail so hard reading chat that we just chat the whole time and we don't get anything done. I hope today isn't like that, but if it is, we'll just go with the flow. Yeah, I'm learning JS on Thursday. Welcome. And I'm sorry. Just wait for TypeScript. Working on a design system built on Tailwind and Astro, and it's a blast. That's great. Good for you, man. I mean, we are the Astro people here, or at least I am an employee at Astro. So, we're going to be doing some fun Astro stuff. Yes, I hate it. It's a shame that all the popular languages, except Python maybe, are a bit wacky to write. You know, because if you're building full stack, you're probably in C# or PHP or JavaScript or Go. Go is a pretty popular one. But if you're building full stack, you're probably in PHP or C# or JavaScript or Ruby on Rails, I guess. Ruby's pretty nice. But yeah, all these languages are whack. PHP is whack as heck. If PHP is learning from JavaScript, you know something's wrong there. C# is pretty good. I'll actually give it to C#. It's a pretty good language. .NET, pretty good framework. But it is very enterprisey, and you need a lot of language tooling to enjoy it. So there is that. There it is. Yeah. Maybe as HTMX. Yeah, if you're using Go, you're definitely hand-rolling your front end, and you're trying to figure it out. I feel like if you're using HTMX, you're kind of at a disadvantage. Hot take? Because HTMX is like the baseline for any backend language that needs some front-end tooling. And it's pretty good for that, but it has a lot of wacky query selectors in order to take your HTML and plop it on the page where it's supposed to go. It doesn't feel very dialed in. It feels like you're kind of ad hoc adding this headless UI solution. And I think it's pretty good, but I think it's a step one. Tools like Astro can do better than HTMX. I feel like HTMX is built for when you don't own the front-end or back-end languages, and you just need a baseline that works. HTMX is great for that. But if you have JavaScript full stack, like, you gotta take advantage a little bit. HTMX's Rails Turbo Frames framework with less server-side integration. Less server-side integration is a good way to put it. Because HTMX is meant to be this, like, solution that could bolt onto any backend to help you make a front-end. Beautiful thing, if you're in a community like Rust or Go where you don't have much of a full stack opinion, it really helps you. But if you're already using a meta framework like Astro or Laravel, I've been learning a lot of Laravel recently, like, it's worse because it isn't dialed in. It doesn't have opinions. That's the push and pull of building something that doesn't have opinions about where you put it. I don't think it supports Angular. I doubt it. Tried HTMX for a simple JS backend. Worked nice. Yes. Kind of had a feeling that it will not break. Okay, well, that's good. It's good that you got some confidence with it. And Astro does support HTMX pretty well now, because you can return fragments of HTML from endpoints. I was just curious if it makes sense to use it with a framework. Yeah, it definitely depends on how much the framework does for you. Like, if you're using something very full stack, Ruby on Rails, .NET, Laravel, I mean, no. But if we're in the JavaScript space and we're using Astro, I feel like HTMX does help you, because Astro doesn't do a lot for you right now. But I'm here to prove that it can do more for you. HTMX is a good step forward. I agree. Nice and simple, yet modern stuff. Anyways, night, I'm going to go sleep. Yes. Have fun with them. I am not undergoing a medical procedure. I was just joking about this FHO thing. So luckily, I'm not doing that. But have a good sleep, man. And thank you for the raid. Appreciate you. It's a super low level, which has its goods and bads. Yeah. There is a lot of love for HTMX, and I understand why. It is very Wild West, and it does bring you back to just slinging HTML from a server, which I think we need to get back to, for sure. Which kind of brings me to Simple Stack, I'll be honest. Bye! Yeah, I'll drop a follow as well. Let me give you a little shout out here. I'm not good at using this overlay, but I'll at least try. 1 second. I broke something. There we go. / shout out? Yeah. Go give him a follow. Or her. Definitely. I'll drop a follow myself. But yeah. Let's look at... Yeah, and we know the Primogen is driving a lot of the... just content creators are driving a lot of the HTMX love. 100%. But let's be real. I feel like the HTMX love and Next.js app router, all that stuff, is most loved by the tech bubble of enthusiasts. But if we go outside of that bubble, if we look at people who are not on Twitter, like, people have no idea what HTMX is, and people probably don't know about React Server Components. When I went to give a talk at Use React NYC, this was like middle of the year, no one knew what Islands architecture was. Very few. No one knew what server components were. Most people didn't even know what Dino or Bun were, or they hadn't tried it, they hadn't looked at it. They were using React spas. That's what people are doing. And maybe they're on Next.js Pages router. And that's going to be true for years. That's the truth. I don't know. We need to know what people are really using. And I don't know how to find those people because they're not online. This is the silent majority that's just pumping out good code at their company. So there is that. Open NPM chins, hit Next.js versus HTMX. Don't look at Next.js versus Astro because whoo! You can finally see the graph. We used to just be on the 0 line, and now you can see a little up motion. WordPress forever. Facts. I do want to touch the WordPress crowd. Dark matter devs, Scott Hanselman would call them. Yes, dark matter devs. Thank you. Yes, that was actually the word I was thinking of. I just couldn't think of it. It's such a large group. Exactly. I'm using Chart.js with HTMX1 project, and I swear, if not for the amount of stuff I have done in that one, I would have moved off. I like that honest take. I do. I like that honest take. That's another nice thing about Sling and Astro is there's not a framework wrapper. So if you need to just put Chart.js and you don't want to think, what's the React binding in order to get this thing in the app? You just put a script tag, man. You put a script tag and you move on. That's what you do. That's how it should be. Debugging JS in another language is a pain. Yes, that's another thing that I've thought about. So let me talk about what I'm slinging with this simple stack. All right, this is something that I just threw together, my list of things that I'm trying. Right, I'm using Astro as a server-side framework. I'm using Alpine as a baseline to sprinkle some JavaScript onto the page without having to use a framework or switch environments, switch templating languages. It's been good to me so far. Not amazing. Language tooling is an issue, but it has been good so far, and it does have some HTMXy style decorators that you might like. Cloudflare is an interesting one. I've looked at a lot of hosting providers. I've used Cloudflare to deploy workers on a small scale. I might use something like Fly.io or just a Docker container instead. I don't know yet. But I do know SQLite's a good idea. To just have a file, write to it, read from it, deploy it next to my website. If I need to graduate to Postgres, well, I don't know. Maybe I use PlanetScale. Lucia for auth because Lucia's amazing. Simple. Yes, Forms and Astro don't hit right for me. Okay, we don't do enough. I'm going to show you what we've got cooking for Forms. I'm going to show you what we got cooking. I feel like it's phase 1 of a journey to make Forms and Astro feel good. It's more for websites and not for web apps. Yes, it is right now. But am I right? Astro only makes sense for public-facing websites that mainly display content but don't have a lot of inputs. I think we're moving towards a world where there are more inputs. There is more mutation happening, and Astro can still address those needs. Not still address. That sounds like, you can use Astro, but it'll be painful. I feel like it can actually be simple. And let me show you. So I made a few examples over the weekend. A few examples. These are all with Astro. First one is this to-do list right here. These are database mutations, not client-side JS. We are shipping forms. We are rearranging elements, just letting view transitions do their thing. And we are watching it do all of that. And we can also put a sleep on the database, and we have optimistic updates. That was me playing with ideas, but that's where things get more complicated. I was also playing with this. This is just using the platform here, and I'll show you the code snippet in a moment. But you can do a post request to any Astro page. And if you're using view transitions, it will do the post request. It will not refresh the page when we get a response back. It will hot swap anything that was changed, and we will even get animations if we add some transition names. It's really nice. It's simple-minded, I'm aware, because with HTMX, you're hot swapping little pieces of the page that changed. With Astro, you are re-rendering the page, essentially. So if the page has a lot of stuff going on, then you are going to reprocess all those database calls. So you need some efficient caching, or you need to bolt HTMX into it so that you only re-render certain fragments. That's not a great story, but I feel like it's pretty good. Is this with Alpine or just vanilla Astro? This example right here, vanilla Astro. We're doing a form request. We're not doing any client-side validation. We're sending it off to the server and letting it give us all of the states. That's what we're doing right now. The optimistic updates example, this is where Alpine and crazy client-side logic is coming into view. View transitions. Because notice here, you see the little fade effect? It gets more pronounced when we add a sleep to the server. So let me actually run the app for you. This is optimistic updates. So if I run the dev server, what is Alpine? Don't worry, I'll show you in a moment. It's not the best solution. I might recommend React or Svelte if you're comfortable with it. But here's my to-do example. What I've done is I've created a simple to-do database. It's literally a JavaScript object. But we have a database of to-dos, right? And it takes 1 second, for the write to happen. So we have a delay on the server that says it's going to take me 1 second to take your to-do, write it to the database, and serve up new HTML. What happens during that 1 second? You could have a loading indicator, or you could have optimistic updates that show the to-do client side and then replace it with the server side response. So that's what I've done here. So if we do 1, 2, 3, the faded version is the client side update, and then the full version is the server version. So you can see here, faded, optimistic update, then the server responds with some new HTML, and we fade from the client to the server. Because we're using view transitions to do it, you don't have to have crazy state management solutions. It just fades one HTML to the other. It diffs between those two. So I can even type really quickly, and it's keeping up. It's smart enough to diff each HTML response without, overriding the client state with the server state again. It's really, really cool. It persists state between renders. And now if we cross things out, again, we have a 1 second delay. So if I cross these out, notice it takes a moment because we have a cross out state. And then it'll sort to the completed part as soon as the server response comes in. So let me show you that unchecking completed. You can see they sort of uncross themselves, and then they bubble back up once the database response comes through. I can click on multiple. Those are all optimistic, and then they come down the wire when they're ready. Ba, 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 ba. Pretty cool. So that is proof, I think, that view transitions could drive really, really, really nice UIs. I didn't have to download React flip animation because the browser has flip animations, and we're leaning on those, which is really cool. Another thing that's interesting about this, notice that my input, even while I'm waiting on server responses, my input doesn't get blown away. That's because we have transition persist on this to tell Astro, okay, when you get a new server response, don't do anything to the input. The input should stay exactly how it is. I never want it to change. So just keep letting the user type and let the server responses come into view later. Still a bit slow for optimistic. Well, what do you mean by slow? I artificially slowed it down. I can speed it up for you if you'd like. So you can see here I have a 1 second delay here. And it's going to take 1 second unless I lower it to something a little bit more manageable. 100 milliseconds, especially if you're using SQLite, feels pretty right. So if we do something like 1, 2, 3, you can see those things are coming down straight away. And I have too many things on my server. Let me just restart the server to blow away the state, because that's our example here. So now it's just 1, 2, 3, and you can see those come pretty much right away. Like that. Not bad. That's what it does. And you can choose however you want to do this. Maybe you want them to bubble up to completed straight away. I'm only moving it when the database response comes back. But you can do whatever you want. You do have to manage the optimistic update, but we could find opinions, best practices in order to make that work. And let's be real, optimistic updates are freaking hard, dude. They're really hard. No matter what framework you're using, they are so complicated. I've had to wrap my head around the use optimistic hook in React, which is a new thing, and I had to watch a 20-minute tutorial because I read the docs. I read the docs a second time, and I was still like, what is this? What is it doing? And even after I saw the example, I still don't know how it handles optimistic updates for, like, figuring out that this client state matches this server state. Like, there's some serious magic going on in React to make optimistic updates work, and I don't understand that. Isn't that pessimistic if you went on the DB response? Not really. The optimistic state is showing some response to the user. So you can see here it's crossed out, and then we're sorting it once the database response comes through. And also, this is optimistic here. This is being added straight away. I'm just fading from grayed out to regular when the database comes through. So that way the user isn't accidentally clicking on it or checking it while we're waiting on the server. So the optimistic part is adding it to the list. But the database response grays it so that, yeah, exactly. It's easy but hard to get right? Yes. The go fast parameter? Yes. If only every database said, dude, why is your database slow? Just turn down the sleep function, idiot. Duh, now my database is super fast. Look at it go, super fast. Now, there is one issue with relying on view transitions, and that's user input when you're mid-transition. So we're being very naive, and we're saying the whole page is going to be transitioned, right? So while it's in transition, it looks nice, but mid-animation, if I try to click on another one of these, it doesn't respond until the animation is done. And you can avoid that by granularly transitioning each individual element, but that's really hard to do, and I still don't know how that would look. You would have to have manual calls to view transitions in order to make that thing work. Acheron, thank you for joining me. Enjoy your errands. So you kind of have two parts, optimistic and pessimistic. Well, I don't know. I guess pure optimistic UI is just making it look exactly the same. And when the database response comes through, basically throw it away if nothing went wrong. We could do that. We could probably do that. It's not the easiest thing to do, but we could do it. We absolutely could. So here's my stuff, and I'm still working on the best way to write this, because I don't know yet. I need my window manager, because it's not full screening. Full screen. There we go. Okay, so this is what we're doing. So we have our cards, right? A to-do. A to-do looks like this. A to-do has a card component. I have a nested component for this. It's not really a big deal. This is all the styles in order to make it look nice. I copied this straight out of the Astro stuff. You also notice Astro has this really nice helper to spread HTML attributes. Check that out. So HTML attributes for a list item, we spread those onto this guy, including classes. We apply some link cards, nothing to it. Then we have our to-do. This is a card, and this is where I have a little bit of Alpine state. This is going to keep track of whether or not it's completed. When you click, you toggle the completed state. We added a view transition name so that it transitions from the client card to the server card. That is your hook to tell view transitions what to use. If you've ever used a key in React, like when you key your list so that it knows which items are reordering in a list, same thing. View transition name is just key. It's just key. Then we have down here, line through is the initial server state. Then we're using Alpine to dynamically change the class. You could use whatever you want. We could rewrite this whole thing as a Svelte template or a React JSX component. Astro lets you use what you want. I used Alpine because I wanted to stay in an Astro template. Whatever. Do you have this connected to a DB right now? I do not have a DB. It is connected, actually, to a store. If you export a JavaScript object, it's just going to persist until you restart the server. This is the poor man's server right here. People install JSON objects in order to do it, and it's like, no, man. Can I use jQuery? Absolutely, you can. You can use whatever you want. Alpine is the best, came here from Caleb's tweet. Nice. I will admit, Alpine is very divisive. It is very divisive, and I understand why. Because we're writing fun strings to manage everything. And you also have to deal with server rendering, right? Because Alpine is not a templating language. It is not compiled. Whatever I'm writing here ships to the browser exactly as written. Exactly as written. Which is kind of a scary place to be. And let me show you what is shipping to the browser right now. Look at that. Our code. In the browser. Ah, God. I hate streaming sometimes because I don't have enough window. But yeah, look at this. It ships straight to the browser. Alpine is not a compiled language. There is no templating. It is shipping to the browser. So if you want to debug Alpine, you don't really need DevTools. You just kind of look at the source. And if you run into an error like state isn't defined, I found the console errors for Alpine are super, super legible. Like every time I've run into a problem, Alpine tells me exactly what to fix. I have not hit an issue yet, so I love that. But yeah, it ships right to the browser. There's literally nothing to it. But it does mean that you have to handle what is the server rendered version before the client renders. So I have to do a little dance here and say server render line through based on whether it's completed on the server, and then boot up some JavaScript to change that line through state on the client. So you kind of have to have this double definition for class because there's no server rendering. Push and pull, it is cool that there's no hydration errors. There's no like, oh my God, the window object doesn't exist. Like all of that is gone, but you do have to manage what is the server rendered class and what is the client rendered class. They are separate things. So, decide if you like that or not. It's up to you. But anyways, you can see we have this Tailwind class set up here. Opacity 50 is based on this find optimistic, which I defined in a script tag just to break it out and have some autocomplete. But you can see here I have a store of optimistic updates, and I find a matching ID. And if there's an optimistic update, I style it a different way. You can totally do what you want with it, though. And you can see here, whenever I toggle completed, we update our optimistic stuff, and then we send a form request to the server with whatever the ID is, whether it's completed. And this is a library in Astro to say instead of refreshing the page, navigate to the current window and pass form data. The fact that you can pass form data in Astro, chef's kiss. Chef's kiss. Who said Astro doesn't have a client-side router? Astro transitions client, navigate to the current page again, and send form data with it. So that way it becomes a post request. It has form data. You don't have to process anything with the fetch call. Super cool. Now let me show you the handler. At the top of our page, we listen for post request. We put a little sleep so that it feels like a database call. We process your form data. We parse it. And I have some, more intense stuff here. Parse form data was a utility that I wrote. Would be cool to open source. These are the payloads that you could have, because there's multiple forms on the page. I said whether it's type create, grab the text and ID. If it's type update, parse out all of this. And yeah, you have to pass true false as strings to transform that into a Boolean. Again, it feels like there's libraries that could make this better. Parsing form data with a validator. That can be better. But for now, I've just handwritten it. But yeah, we're parsing the payload and we see, oh, this was from the create form. Let's go ahead and create a new to-do, push it on there. Oh, this was an update. okay, let's go find the form, and we'll also sort it to either the top or bottom of whatever list it's in, depending on if it's completed. This is just for layout shift. This is just something nice that I found, but you can do whatever you want. And I also keep track of the created and updated to-dos. This way, down here, whenever a to-do successfully creates or updates, we tell our optimistic creates to remove that. Because optimistically, we added a to-do to the list. And now the server has that to-do in the list. So we can remove the client-side version. That's it. So optimistically, we have a client-side version. And then when the server comes along, filter it out. That's all we're doing. And we do the same for updates. If the server handled our update, we can remove it from our optimistic updates because we're done. And that's it. So then down here, all we have is our submit handler in order to do the optimistic update stuff ourselves. And then we have our template. So this is a for loop, and this also ships to the browser unchanged. And it loops over all of our client-side creates and puts them in the list. And then above that, we have all of our server updates. So we can choose where the optimistic updates go and where the server updates go. It's up to you. You do have to use Alpine syntax in order to do the for loop because it's now shipping to the browser, but it is pretty simple to me. If you know Vue, you definitely know Alpine. It is literally Vue. Vue's reactivity engine is Alpine. Alpine is just a thin wrapper on top of Vue's reactivity to let you ship Vue to the browser. That's all it is. Vue, ooh, yeah, Vue's pretty cool. And I like that Alpine is, you don't really have to learn anything new. Can you inject JS with Alpine cross-site scripting? This is a concern. I know that it will execute scripts. It will. So there is a risk, and I need to read up on it. Because there are some pretty large production sites that use Alpine. And there's a lack of concern around that. And it feels like there is a gap. So I need to look into that, man. I really do. Because that could be a risk. I don't know. Somehow I really don't like that the server knows about the client form. So I can change my form name and it will no longer work, right? Yes. So what would you prefer? What would you expect to work here? Because at the moment, yes, I have inside of my server template a hidden input that tells it the type. So this type is a value create. And as far as I know, Remix uses the exact same pattern. Because in Remix, you only have one action handler for a given route. So if you have multiple forms, you need a hidden input in order to figure out which form is it. And you can switch on the type in order to figure that out. We're keeping it old school here. If you have multiple forms, you got to ID it yourself. I know SvelteKit has a framework opinion in order to make this a little bit better. I heard some rumors that with CSP enabled, Alpine is kind of unusable. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, with CSP enabled. Gotcha. I need to read up on that. But I do know that if you removed that capability, then you would have to write all of your Alpine data inside of a script tag, which to me is not unusable. I've actually kind of enjoyed it. I don't know. But yeah, for switching class names, I have a feeling that would be really annoying. So if it's a concern to you, if this is a problem, then you can just use Svelte or React or whatever else, and you use a separate templating language to do it. I like this because I can stay in my Astro templates. But yeah, I am kind of curious. Let me actually Google that. Improve security awareness. Under the hood. Okay. Here we go. In order for Alpine to execute plain strings for HTML attributes, it needs to rely on utilities that violate the unsafe eval content security policy. Under the hood, Alpine does not actually use the eval itself because it's slow and problematic. Instead, it uses function declarations, which are better, but still evaluate unsafe eval. In order to accommodate environments if it's necessary, we'll offer an alternate build that doesn't violate unsafe eval, but has a more restrictive syntax. Okay. It hasn't been officially released. In the meantime, you may build it from source. I assume it's a simple source code. So you can grab that. You can do that. Restrictions. Alpine can no longer interpolate strings as plain JavaScript. It has to parse and construct JavaScript functions manually. Okay. To this limitation, you must use Alpine data. That is okay with me. You must reference properties and methods from it by key only. Okay. So you can do that, and you can do this, and you declare them separately. Usable. I am curious what that would mean for classes. It doesn't explain that. Good. Bad. Gotcha. So you can't just kind of do that. You can't do the fun stuff. You would have to basically create a view component. To me, this is just writing view, where you create that and you have your function handlers. Yeah, new function. What is that? What would that change? What does that affect? I have no idea. Yeah. Instead of eval. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Would that be more safe? Would that be better? Yeah, it sounds like a lots of getters to use that secure version. It is. So it's not horrible. Because, I mean, you would create your Alpine data. You would lose any type. Like, if there were language tools that could understand this, language tools cannot understand this. There is no way a language tool could give you autocomplete for properties inside of counter. There's no way for it to tie it up. I just guess what Alpine uses since it doesn't use eval. Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know. I assume it's using new function or something like that. Yeah, maybe. But yeah, I would assume that you can't even use class because it would have to evaluate that, right? Like you can't even use a dynamic class anymore. You would just have to, well, let me pull up that example. For something like this, I have a feeling, yeah, because this is, I mean, it's evaluating function calls. I don't know. Why does new function even exist? I don't know what it is. You just taught me about new function. You just taught me what that is. I actually don't know. Yeah. Yeesh. Interesting. A function object provides methods for functions, JavaScript. Yeah. So I am curious if function constructor and function declaration. So I guess now I have to ask, how bad is it? Like if it is using an unsafe evaluation method, is this just making Alpine a no-go for everyone? I don't know. Because this seems like a very fundamental piece. It does. I'm not sure what to make of it. Yeah. I wouldn't even say tight CSP as much as standard CSP. To make Alpine.js play nice with CSP, you have to allow unsafe eval, which severely weakens your protection against cross-site scripting. Alpine claims to have a compatibility build with CSP, but it's not officially available, doesn't fully work, and the parts that are broken in the CSP build aren't documented. Makes sense, they're not there. HTMX works under CSP. Interesting. But it opens a new vector for attackers to inject JS on your page, which effectively neuters CSP. Okay, so HTMX has a problem too. I'm not surprised, because HTMX has the craziest capabilities for just writing JavaScript in a string. It is crazy. There's a number of advantages. Look out at behavior. The concern with this approach is security. Since HTMX increases the expressiveness of HTML, they really do try to sell that. If a malicious user is able to inject HTML into your application, they can leverage this expressiveness of HTMX to malicious ends. Escape all user content. First rule of HTMX-based web development, do not trust input from the user. Yeah, we should escape all third-party untrusted content that is injected into your site. This is to prevent cross-site scripting attacks. There's extensive documentation. The good news is that this is a very old and well-understood topic. True. The vast majority of server-side templating languages support automatic escaping of content to prevent just such an issue. Yes. That being said, there are times people choose to inject HTML more dangerously, often via raw mechanisms. Yeah, woo. Yeah, you got to think about that. I like that there is way more discussion on the HTMX docs about what could be an issue. Alpine really did hand-wave away the issue, which did not make me feel good, I'll be honest. If you're injecting raw HTML and doing your own escaping, the best practice is to whitelist attributes and tags you allow, rather than blacklist ones you disallow. Great advice. Great advice. Yeah, because if you have Alpine on the page and someone is able to inject HTML, it could wreak havoc on your website. It could. It absolutely could. So you got to be careful. My worry is the template literal in your code. Okay. The template literal. Which one? All of it? This one? Any of them? I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, it is really difficult. So you would have to whitelist classes that you allow if you ever allow stuff. Yeah, HTMX validate. Ooh, this is interesting. If you want to allow events to some domains. Now, one nice thing is at least Alpine is evaluating when you use HTMX, all of a sudden you have these HTMX inbound requests from anywhere. And that means all sorts of HTML is being added to the page. But if we're just using view transitions and we're re-rendering the route wholesale, we don't have fragments of HTML that the document is plopping into place. There's no vector for that. So how do people get cross-site scripts into this app, for example? As far as I can tell, they can't. I'm not a security expert, but we're re-rendering the page. You can do form requests, but you can't just kind of put stuff on the page. Am I right about that? Am I thinking about this right? I don't know. Yeah. The template literal is all server rendered, so we're not doing anything there. Is there more that I should learn about this? Well, if you use a template literal to write functions with dynamic data with Alpine, it might be possible to do reflective cross-site scripting. I don't know. Yeah. That's been so for web development for years. I say the rewards vastly outweigh the cost, not a deal breaker. Yeah, some people are going to think that. Exactly my experience. Libraries like these should state their CSP compatibility up front. They should. Any JavaScript minimalist, yeah, who are likely to target developers for these libraries, yeah. Telling our library isn't compatible with CSP as a footnote seems disingenuous. I do feel that. I think that Alpine can make more of an effort. So a minimalist JS library, you would suggest that has better security. Web components, probably. Probably web components. That would be my guess. I don't know. Because at least web components are contained. So you don't have like a global thing that is looking for special classes and attributes to evaluate. I don't know. Yeah. I'm curious what people are saying. I'm veering towards Hotwire and Stimulus. Yeah, Stimulus is wacky. I need to look at it again, but I'm not sure if I would lean on the Rails devs. I'm using Alpine with Rails, and I don't know why. I'm just using it for data binding, and I could have used Stimulus. I just like the idea of a simple alternative to Angular. Makes sense. Use the defaults. Yeah, I don't know. Well, these are Rails people, so of course they're going to use Rails defaults. Anytime you can use the natively offered options, you'll typically find less friction come upgrade time. That is the advice for using web components, 100%. Alpine.js gives you handy helpers, which you can use inline. Yeah. I've experimented on more complex components in Alpine, but maintenance becomes very difficult, and wouldn't use it for anything but the simplest of sprinkles. It really shines when you want items to appear or disappear with Tailwind, but you could easily use Stimulus for this use case as a perfect equivalent. I use it if I want text to appear when I have something like an input box. Yeah. It might be time to at least look at Stimulus. I am curious what it is. So I'll tell you right now, the reasons that I'm into, you could do something like that. That is something. Reflective cross-site scripting. If I understand your code correctly, this is how they eval their code. Okay. Async function get prototype of constructor. Interesting. I don't know what that's doing really. So we're getting the prototype of a function constructor. So I think that is the new function that you were talking about, but in a more cross-browser compatible way. I don't know. Evaluate memo expression. Yeah, I don't know. Oh boy, here we go. Yeah, it can do some wacky things. Turbo up high, stimulus down low. Yeah. I am wary of using anything from the Rails community outside of Rails because I guarantee they're not going to like it. Gotta love me some gnarly Ragex. I mean, it is required in order to do these kinds of things. Yeah. I don't know. For something which cannot work in Alpine, I'd use Stimulus, and for even more complex components, I'd use Elm, and then React in that order. Wow, man knows all of his tools. For the most part, Hotwire obviates a lot of Ajax overhead. Yes. Yeah, you can go far. But if you use both tools, you very quickly get a good feel. We choose one versus the other. I respect you for understanding all the tools and deciding when to kind of upgrade complexity. Good for you, man. That was a good response. When Webpack was first introduced, and I'm out of here. Ooh. Yeah, I don't know. Because here's the thing. Alpine is used by Laravel apps. The reason, well, there's a couple reasons that I was into Alpine when I looked at it for the first time. First, it is used with Laravel, which is one of the most dialed in full stack frameworks that I know of. So if we're trying to build something dynamic and server driven with Astro, why not use a tool that is born from that community? It just makes sense. Also, UI components. Alpine has first-class components that you can reach for. Similar to Tailwind UI, they give you the scrappy code for you to copy-paste into your application, and now they have headless stuff to give you unstyled versions for all of those primitives. This is cool. The fact that I can tell people, just go to Alpine components in order to do it is nice. Now, I'll admit, I was given full access to this. You do have to pay money in order to access the rest of the components. I think you can access the first 4 before you have to pay money. But I heard from the creator that, there might be a future where more of these are open sourced. So if more of these are open sourced, that makes me feel really good about recommending it. So I like that. It's born out of a backend framework. So people have run into a lot of issues with it already and solved them. And it has a first-class component library, so we don't have to recommend certain tools. Those are 2 really good reasons, I think. But, so what are we building with SimpleStack? Yeah, maybe we should go build something. I did want to derail for the security conversation because I want to know. It's only a concern if you use data from form data search params and use that to dynamically write Alpine functions. That makes sense. That could be an issue. So you are taking user input and you are putting it back into the DOM. So you need to consider what that user input is. Great point. And that is something you really do have to think deeply about. And if you're using something like React or Vue, less of an issue. Still an issue, potentially, if you have like a query param and you're rendering it on the client and that query param contains something that's not good. But yeah, with Alpine specifically, you could run into scripting concerns where it actually injects something that you do not expect. So completed is a true-false Boolean, and it goes on a post request. So you as a user would have to really, really get creative to get something in here that's bad. But as far as I know, Astro already sanitizes, and I am using JSON stringify for this. So if it is complex logic, it is being stringified. And this is a helper that I made, XD, lol. And I do want to upgrade this to handle maps, sets, URLs, and anything else that we can think of safely. So I do want to have safe stringification for any properties that go into a template. So that's what I'm working on right now. And if we're using JSON stringify, as far as I know, there's no way that you could get something unsafe in here. And you also can't put like a string of script tags and such, because it will literally be a string expression. So it will not try to evaluate it. So I think we're good. As long as we're using stringify methods, we're okay. We're okay. But yeah, if you are accepting anything that could be HTML, like a rich text editor, oh boy, be careful. Be very, very careful. There probably is a way to lock Alpine down to not look at elements within a certain boundary. Like maybe there's a way to wrap it with Shadow DOM so Alpine doesn't look at it. Shadow DOM is like a browser standard to literally hide certain elements from query selectors and such. So maybe that's the solution. Maybe a Shadow DOM for any time that you're accepting HTML as an input. Perhaps. I don't know. Yeah. Let me know on Twitter if you have further thoughts on this kind of stuff. I am curious. Because Alpine is underpinning Laravel apps, which are very mutatable and updatable things. So it feels like it's not a non-issue, but if you know what you're doing, then it shouldn't be an issue. That would be my hope. So yeah, I showed you something that I built already with SimpleStack. Let's build something new. I want to go to my Soundboard app, and I want to refactor it to SimpleStack. That's what I want to do. That was my plan today. And we're going to have about an hour to work on this. So let me jump into it. Astro Soundboard. Astro Soundboard. Here we are. Oh, I still don't even have a README for this. But yeah, this was the beautiful womp.vercel.app, I think. Are we on womp.vercel.app? Nope. What was the website? Because I know that we have womp. Hey, yo, what's the simple stack? Hey, yo, what's the simple stack, man? We're using Astro and Vue transitions to build a full stack application. Ew, that's my face. Get away. We're using Astro and Vue transitions, so that way you don't have to learn crazy bundling techniques and server actions, etc., to get dynamic UIs. So Astro all the way down. We're using Alpine to add bits of interactivity where we need them. We're using potentially Cloudflare or Fly.io, we're still deciding, to deploy a server. And we're using SQLite to have the most basic database experience that we can. Just the essentials. And Lucia if we need to reach for authentication, because it's a great authentication library. There's a link in the repo. Okay. Link to what? I'm losing the thread here already. I'm losing the thread of what we were talking about. Oh, the SAL stack. Someone, no. It's Scala, baby. This is the Scala stack. Scala stack. It's not Scala. Please don't call it the Scala stack. People are going to think I'm a Java head. No. But it's the Scala stack. The link to the Soundboard website, womp. Oh, it's in the repo? Oh, helpful. Where did I put it? I don't know where I put that thing. Did I put it in the Astro config? Yay, I did. Good for me. Oh, I thought we deployed it on WOMP at some point. We had a name change at the end. But yeah, if we go to Astro Soundboard, it's deployed on Vercel serverless, so it's a bit slow. So I am going to do a few things. First, we're going to get off of Vercel Postgres, because it was a good time. I think it's a good solution, but I'd call it middle of the pack. Like, yeah, you can use Vercel to host the database, but there's some things missing. There's obviously no local experience. You have to connect to a remote server. There's no environment, so you would have to create multiple databases if you wanted a dev environment. And cold starts are really bad on Postgres if you're also using Vercel serverless too. It's a bit of a mess. So you can see here, things are quite slow because we're spinning up our serverless environment. But yeah, here we go. You can see, oh yeah, we also have this loading experience. But it is pretty cool. It is pretty cool. I don't know what happened to this emoji, but that got corrupted. But yeah, you can see here, we have Vue transitions to go between the two states. And we did get pretty creative. So this page right here is just plain vanilla JavaScript. I'm going to wait for that to play out. It's just vanilla JavaScript, and you only load React when you go to the edit page. Because the edit page has React query in order to do optimistic updates and like update things in the background. Said there's no save button. I just wanted to get creative there. And we also have upload thing. We're using Theo's own upload thing library to let you upload MP3s and then get a link to an Amazon bucket to play them in the browser. Pretty cool stack. Was really annoying to wire up React query and React. It would be cool if we didn't have any of that anymore. Also want to get off of Vercel for this project and just use SQLite and figure that out. I don't think we hear the sound effects. I think it's just really low volume. I think it's really low volume. 1 second. Because you'll totally hear this. 1 second. If I hit play. Yeah, it's really low volume. 1 second. Bump that up. Yeah, see? There we go. Works pretty well. And I also wired them up to number keys, which I thought was pretty fun. I don't know. Yeah, these are some whiteboard the web sound effects that I just kind of wired in to see how they work. All right, let me hit play on that again. Lovely. I'm actually going to be right back. I have to use the bathroom, but when I return, we're going to try building this guy not from scratch, but halfway from scratch with a new deployment host and some simpler JavaScript. All right, let's do it. 1 second. way back. We're so back. Let's get going. I'll go ahead and grab this repository off of the GitHubs, because I don't think it's cloned onto my work machine here. But we'll spin up a new project. I'm going to head to... Maybe I do have it. Let's find out. We do. Lovely. All right. And I think we'll just use this for reference, honestly. Oh, I was already doing it. I was already getting into the groove of things. Oh, man. Well, we could. We could do this. What did I do? So I added Alpine. I added Simple Scope, my favorite library. Ooh, we're going to talk about Simple Scope. It's going to be a good time. All right, so I was slowly figuring out how you could have an edit. Yeah, this is pretty good. This is pretty good. But I think I'm going to start over. Their dashboard is below average. I want to like Cloudflare, but Wrangler's meh. I think their dashboard's pretty good. I haven't really had a problem with their dashboard. Coming from AWS, it is fantastic. But coming from Vercel, there is less available. I think their analytics are pretty good. Cloudflare Pages is fine. It has enough information to get started, but not everything. Yeah, I know. Everything's better than AWS. I'm curious about Fly.io. I have worried about Fly because I've heard they have a lot of stability issues. They've really struggled with downtime. But Cloudflare struggles too. So maybe it is worth looking at. And if we're talking simple stack, having to work with the Cloudflare runtime and thinking about packages that will and will not run is not simple. But just using a node server and putting it up on Fly, that is simple. Because we're just in node. Like node in the dev server, node in production. It distributes if you want it, or you can just treat it as a node server if you don't. Like that is a simple onboarding story. And you don't have to worry about dev versus prod discrepancies or anything like that. You do lose out on like the edge rendering, but the flip side, writes and reads should be very, very fast. Because with Cloudflare, you do worry about distribution of writes because it's everywhere. But Fly.io, it distributes to a select amount of regions. If you put SQLite, it'll duplicate pretty well. And Kent C. Dodds uses it for his projects. So using a tool that is used by another stack, I think is a good idea. Because deployment is not my specialty. My specialty is UIs and, these days, working on good backend. I don't know much about databases and I don't know much about deployment. So I'd rather lean on the shoulders of giants. And let me show you about this. Epic Stack. This is Kent C. Dodds' opinionated stack. Oh god, remix conf. But this makes a lot of choices for you. And Fly.io is one of them. Because for Remix, which is very dynamic, it is nice to deploy it to a host like that. You can see there are a lot more opinions than we do. But there are some funny things down here like Prettier. Of course there's Prettier. VTest. Of course you're probably using VTest to test your code. Like, I don't know, man. Of course some of these are in here. Of course they are. So yeah, edge rendering is the last thing I care about. Respect. I'm using Fly.io, and it's nice. Good. The app itself is not falling, but the deployments do. Like a once a week, there's something wrong. That's not good. Can you elaborate on some of the stuff you've hit? Because I know Kent really loves Fly, and he claims that he doesn't have many issues with it. He puts a lot of trust in the team. So I'm surprised if you're hitting problems once a week, because to me, that is unacceptable. If you have deployment issues once a week, that is just not okay. That should not happen. Railway is another option that lets you deploy a node server, but Railway's a really small... Yeah, exactly. I mean, it uses Google Cloud Platform, which is... It exists. It's one of them. But Railway doesn't distribute. I like that Fly distributes to multiple regions. So, I don't know. Railway could be a simple option. Yeah. It just feels like we're leaning on all these sexy services. And I'd love to use something that's like old. Like Heroku. But Heroku's dead. So we need something else. I'm pleased with render.com. That is a dark horse. I have not played with render. I should probably do that. Okay, this is a good list of people. We would be in good company. So I've never used render, Does anyone have opinions on render? Simple and predictable pricing compared to Heroku. Very smart of them to compare. Move from Heroku to render, reduce my hosting bill by 80%, and the databases are even faster. I love that. If you're comparing to Heroku, you're after my heart, man. Love you. Okay, maybe render is the one. Recently, I just want basic Node.js server. Same here. Same here. I don't care about Bun. I do not care about Dino. I like that these tools exist because they're going to make Node.js better. But Node.js is a good tool, and it's been getting better. Like Node now has environment variable support and CLI argument support. These are two features that were missing for a long time. Now they're in Node. Now Node has a built-in testing framework. It's not great, but it has built-in testing. Like, these were things we were missing, and now we have them. So just stick with Node, man. Node is fine. Node is fine. Bun is a startup that's getting a lot of hype, and we don't know how it's going to shake out. Dino is struggling to build a hosting platform. And Node is just a group of contributors that are steadily putting work in. I would bet on Node. I would still bet on Node. So I feel like we should just keep using Node. That's what I feel like. So yeah, render. Maybe I'll look at render. Maybe I will. Railway's also really good though, so I don't know. These feel like two flavors of the same thing. Where does it deploy? I actually don't know. You have background workers. That's pretty cool. I don't know what any of these are, but it has them. It has cron jobs. That's good. Web services. Okay. Django, Rails, GraphQL, and REST. I mean, hey, if we're talking about Rails and Django, that feels like we're in good company. Docker files for sure, for sure. I'll look at the docs here. So we have migrate from Heroku, which is a good sign. We have GitHub integration, which I like. We have built-in Postgres. This was a saving grace for Fly. I'm glad they also have Postgres. And I have a feeling, yeah, persistent disk. As long as you have persistent disks, we have SQLite, as far as I can tell. Custom domains from Cloudflare. I would still use Cloudflare for my domains. Yeah, for sure. And you have rollbacks, Slack notifications. That's all good. Yeah, I'm curious where they host. I want to know. This doesn't look like Next.js content. Ew. And you subscribed? Disgusting. Get out of here. It's raw JavaScript. I remember having trouble accessing Render and Flyo's websites. Yeesh. I wonder if Render is hosted on Fly. Yeah, so what is Render.io built on? What are they built on? What is Render a cloud platform? Render is a unified cloud and build the Render apps with things. Okay. How does RenderCom work? Render is a fully managed cloud platform. Yeah, I understand that. That doesn't tell me how. That tells me what. Is Render a good hosting platform? Okay, let's go Reddit. Okay, we're getting totally derailed here, but I want to know. Railway versus Render. Let's see what people say. Yeah, there we go. All right, Rails. Heroku is well-known, battle-tested, historically loved by the Rails community because it's been around. A lot of people have moved away because of removal of the free tier. That is a problem. That is true. Render and Fly work just as well. I'd save a few bucks, but it's wholly dependent on how much data you have, blah. Yeah. Regions. System admin. I don't know. DigitalOcean is a lot to think about. Not simple. Doku. Huh. We're using Fly for a small project now, and the free tier is quite generous. Heroku's blowing me with pipelines. I don't know about pipelines. Yeah, people are still saying Heroku's good, which makes sense. GitHub, yeah, the GitHub fiasco. All right, I'm not getting anything good about this. I will ask on Twitter and see what people think. I think crowdsourcing this information is the best way. Also, I will start a discussion thread over here. wtw.dev/chat. Join the Discord. That is my Discord community. Go join it. I will start a discussion thread about hosting providers. And if you have opinions, drop them in there. Just tell me what works for you. Like, I host on this, and I like this, this, and this, and I wish it had whatever. You know? What do you like? What do you dislike? Spanish Render.io. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, Rendiero. Rendiero. Or how do you pronounce that in Spanish? Rendeiro? Is that right? I think Google is giving you Ruby on Rails, not Railway. That is funny that Railway and Ruby on Rails aren't tied together at the hip. I would think they are. Okay, anyways, let's spin up a new Astro project. Repositories, pm create Astro latest. We're just gonna call it WOMP. I couldn't remember if there was an H in that. I think the creator of Railway called Rails trash. That's hilarious. That is hilarious. I get it. Ruby on Rails is a very opinionated tool from a very opinionated creator. Some people still swear by Ruby to this day, and other people cannot stand it. I know a couple people, one of them that works at Replay, which is an amazing like error debugging service, and he was like, Ruby is just poetry. It's written like prose. Oh my God. And the debugging experience is second to none. And that told me there's probably something to Ruby on Rails. I don't know. What's Ruby not on Rails used for? Nothing other than Ruby on Rails. And Jekyll. It is used for Jekyll. That static site generator, it's still kicking. And that's all I know about. Anything outside of that, maybe people use it for CLI scripts. Probably. It's a pretty simple language, so I wouldn't be surprised. And I don't like that my default for my GitHub is master. I really need to change that. Let me just create a main branch. There we go. And I think I have a bonk command now. Nice. Bonk master. Boop. Oh, no. Or just not to appear. Oh, I didn't make a Git repository yet. Well, we don't want to publish this yet. Actually, yeah, we do. We're just going to create a new repo because no one's looking at Astro's soundboard right now. That's fine. So you can see here, I have a fun command. Git push -u origin head to make sure that's up. And bonk is my command to delete both the local and remote version of a branch, because the command to delete a remote is just something I can never remember. Master not found. Perfect. Because we didn't push up yet. All right, so now we're gonna... Are we in WOMP? Oh, yeah, we are. I just didn't have the file explorer. Okay, Astro add, and we're going to use a node bucket. We're going to use Alpine JS, and we're going to use Tailwind. This is the simple stack right here. Okay, generate a minimal Tailwind. Beautiful. Now, there is something coming from Astro. You may have heard whispers of a data platform built on Astro. And it will be coming soon. And that will probably change some aspects of the simple stack. It probably will. But for now, we'll just use a SQLite file. For now, we will keep it as simple as we can. But something's cooking from Astro Studio. Something is cooking. So get ready for it. Something is cooking. Just bonk the WOMP, smooth the blog, and gleep the tube. Thank you. Bing, bang, boom. And we're running. I'm also going to use Drizzle. Let's go ahead and use Drizzle. Just to have some stuff for our SQLite database. Very cool. What are we going to do? And Lucia has a SQLite adapter, right? I don't know why I'm asking. I know it does. So we'll use that. So we can switch back and forth between these. I'm going to go to my index route and see what is cooking. So I'll add auth in a moment, but I'm going to at least reach for stuff that I already have. Like our card header. So we were using shadcn before. It feels like it's time to use something else, maybe. But the beauty of using shadcn for server templating is we kind of don't have to care. Like we could install React to render out the markup and such, but we're not shipping React to the browser. We're just using it for server-side templating for cards and such. So there's a case for keeping shadcn in the stack, just so we don't have to migrate everything over. Get us going with something. Yeah, maybe we do that. Maybe we stick with this just to have it. The Drizzle adapter for Lucia is coming in v3. Okay. I'm excited. Yes. Right now we have to duplicate our schemas, as far as I know. Lucia doesn't have Drizzle stuff. I'm saying so many terms right now. If you don't know what Drizzle is, It's a wrapper around SQL tables to let you play with them with JavaScript. That's what it is. So it needs to know what your tables look like, and we have to write out what the Lucia tables look like so we can query them. That's all we mean. We're not using Postgre anymore. We're going to need to change that. But I'm debating what I should do. I could completely overhaul a lot of these things, and I want to scope down the project. A classic engineer's dilemma. Okay, so I'll tell you what. We will start by just reusing our layouts. And I don't want to install shadcn though. Okay, we can re-implement the card and the button. We can re-implement a button. The home stack. Shadcn, ORM Drizzle, Lucia, Node, Tailwind, and Sastro. I like Sastro. I like Sass. We could say, you know what? No Tailwind, full Sass. Go back to the classics. I love me some SCSS. We could go back to SCSS and Sass. We could go back. Hano. Yeah, baby. Hano. I mean, when you're using Astro, you don't also need Hano. But I have used it before. You can use Hano to, like, wrap an Astro route. It's nutty. Okay, let's actually do something. God dang it. So we have our layouts here. Main layout right there. Yeah, we'll just copy that. No problem. So we'll head over to layout, and we'll just create a new layout. I'll delete the old one. And for those at home, you don't need a layouts folder in Astro. We just did it. And it looks like we have some import aliases. I would love to add those. So if we head over to our tsconfig, yeah, we got some config options. Yeah, we want these, but we don't want the JSX import source because we're not going to be using JSX yet. Very cool. Upload thing might be a challenge, though. We might need to install at least Preact in order to use a React component there. Don't know yet. Okay, so we have our logo. We have our button and button variants. It is cool to have a button as well as variants. But I do kind of want to style this because right now the Astro soundboard looks like a Tailwind app. It doesn't look fun or good. I want to do it differently. But to scope this down, I think I need to, at the very least, bring in some shadcn magic so that we can have a baseline of variants and such. So where is that? It was inside of Components UI. Components UI. We have our audio uploader. Yeah, this is going to be our one JSX component because we need to mount upload thing. And we can refactor it later. But yeah, we have our variants, we have our button props, and we have our crazy component rendering right here. It's crazy that we need all of these just to have a button. Ugh. But, I mean, these do look good. So we have text primary, all of this stuff. Use you whiffed. You whiffed. You whiffed the copy pasta. You whiffed it. I'm sorry, man. You whiffed it. Okay, so we could do this stuff. React forward ref is the worst thing in the world. We just have a component here. What is comp? Comp is as child buttons. Yeah. So this is where you can use as child to make a link look like a button, for example. I wouldn't do that in this case, probably. What copy pasta? Oh, I thought you were... R2. Oh, I thought you were trying to make me type... I thought you were trying to make me type this. I thought you were trying to make me RF when you typed RF. I just thought of that. Okay, R2, yes, you could totally use R2. You could use R2D2 if you wanted to. Yeah, that's like their bucket storage. We could. And again, that's another case to maybe use Cloudflare. And then you would have separate deployment hosts, blah, 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 blah. I don't know. I've even heard from Kent C. Dodds that he uses blob storage in SQLite for all of his images, which sounds insane. It sounds like a horrible idea. I don't know how he does that. But we could also lean on SQLite to store the audio files. If we limit your audio files to like 30-second snippets, which for a soundboard is reasonable. We could do that. We could do blob storage of audio files and just kind of move on. I don't know. All these are options available to us. But yeah, we have our button variants. I like that they named it by shifting the 1 from S3. I know. Oh, wait. Yeah, alphabetically, R and S are next to each other, so they just shifted it over. God, that's hilarious, actually. That is hilarious. Okay, I'm staring at this for too long. I think I'm just going to ignore all of these and make it look like trash while we're trying to get things looking good. So the logo. Okay, we can import the logo. We have a logo made by our one and only designer, Mark. Amazing person that built us the logo for WOMP. So now we have logo.astro. We have some global styles, apparently. I don't know why we used the globals instead of putting it in the layout directly. Oh, okay. So this is for light and dark themes. This is actually a pretty cool opinion that came straight out of our good old Shad CN. So we might just grab it and use it. It is a good look. So, yeah. When you use the Astro Tailwind config, does it also give you the baseline Tailwind classes? I don't think it does. I think the integration manages it for you or something. But yeah, we'll put it in here. I think I just need to paste it, right? Or no. I copied the file contents. I don't know why I made it plural either. It should just be singular. But yeah, that's cool. So now we have border. Ooh, I love me a border. Body, BG background, text foreground. That makes sense. That all makes sense to me. Okay, so this looks good. And as far as I know, this should give us a light and a dark mode. I don't think we actually used the light and dark mode, though. I think we just kind of winged it. Yeah, and we'll comment that out for now, because we don't need it yet. Yeah, we're going to avoid the user dropdown until we have an opinion. But yeah, now we have... Oh, it actually resolved the import. Weird. Okay, cool. So this is our baseline for everything that we need. We probably want social images at some point, but oh well. href, boards, whatever. This is another aspect of the simple stack, by the way. I'm going to highlight everything that I like about the simple stack along the way. Okay. But you don't have nested layouts. You don't have to deal with route groups. You import layouts, you pass props, and you update your head. That's all you need. And I think that's a beautiful thing. So yeah, there's our layout. Here's our card. Card seems to be... this is just from the base Astro template. Of course, errors. So let's delete some of this base stuff and get cooking with our board route. So this is our home page. I'm just going to add welcome to WOMP for now. And this is going to be where our sign-in goes. But I like nested layouts. Grr! Playing with both of them, this is definitely the better set of trade-offs. Because with this, you can choose which layout it is. Yes, you are copy-pasting layouts everywhere. But now you have a mechanism to pass props like title. You don't have to have a separate export to inject meta tags into the head all the way up the chain. And oh my god, what if I have to re-render a table of contents in the nested layout when I change routes? You don't have to think about that because it's top-down rendering. So just have props in order to update those things. Have slots for like table of contents. Like you can work on things like a template and let view transitions magically make it feel like they're all in a shared nested layout. So you don't have to think about it. There is a benefit, of course, to like, oh, I don't have to type code because now the nested layouts are here. I get it. I do. But seeing the trade-offs and seeing how it plays out in the end, this is very fine. Parallel route build view. Yeah, that is an issue. That is true. Astro will await top to bottom so that you can do HTML streaming. We do not allow parallel rendering. Well, maybe you could with the promise.all. Never tried it. But yeah, we don't have the fancy stuff. We don't have the fancy stuff. There are trade-offs everywhere. Okay, so let's just make sure we have something on the page. We should. All right. Go to locals 4321. Okay, global CSS is not working because I made a styles folder and I shouldn't have done that. Silly me. We just put global in the base, which is fine. Let me just put... Cool. Okay, border class does not exist. That's probably a shad thing. I don't even know what border means. If you can't handle me at my border, you don't deserve me at my border. Am I right, ladies? Am I right? Okay, so BG background and text foreground are also probably ShadCN opinions. Yeah, those are probably all provided by ShadCN somehow. Let's go back to Tailwind config. I have a feeling that it injected a lot of things that we don't have. Yes, it did. Okay, so this was me inventing something. I think we will want that. We also have a lot of opinions about these. So this is a cool thing about ShadCN, is you don't have to use their component library. You could just use them as a theme generator. In fact, I'm going to generate a new theme that this time is pink. I don't know. We're just going to go to theming, and we're going to generate a theme. Oh, you can have CSS variables true. Yeah. Oh my god, look at this. Astro dark mode example. Oh, Shad, you're after my heart. Yes. Beautiful. So cool. And you can set the theme state with a React variable if that's your thing. You can do whatever you want, though. Oh, Shad, thank you. Thank you for this. You're awesome. And I will grab that at some point. I didn't even expect to find that. Yeah, let's go to themes. And let's go ahead and add a green theme. Because Womp is from the swamp. So we need an ogre-ready theme. We can customize this. Womp is from the swamp. I'm going to tell Mark that. If y'all run into Mark on the Astro Discord, tell him Womp is from the swamp. Ben told me to tell you that. And I think it should be really rounded. Like really rounded. And our light mode... Ah! Sorry. Flash warning. Okay, there we go. So now we're going to copy the code. And that should be pretty good. Yeah. Dark mode should really be a browser level feature. It kind of is, because you can have prefers color scheme. But yeah, I don't know. It feels like they should do more for you. A dark mode toggle should be like a built-in web component or something. Kind of feels right. I don't know. I'm wondering how interested would y'all be in this? How interested would you be in an open source project that gives you a nice web component there? I think it already exists, actually. I'll double check if that already exists. If it does, then I'll go find it. But yeah, it's cool that at least ShadCN tells you how to map those up to Tailwind classes. Because even if the browser had a built-in, there's all sorts of magic in our Tailwind config that we do need to think about. Oh, sorry. I think I reflexively copied something that I shouldn't have copied. So let me go ahead and grab that. Paste that in. Cool. So that's our config. And I think in Tailwind, we also had like a base ShadCN setup. So it looks like we just need to copy those from our other config here. Yeah, and it looks like they're using Tailwind Animate. I'm going to lean on Alpine transitions and Vue transitions, so we don't need that, but perhaps we'll decide that we want it later. I don't know yet. But yeah, I've gone ahead and removed that just for now. Oh, wow, yeah. So we have keyframes and animations. We're going to lean on Alpine components for now. I'm deciding, the problem with React is it just gives you so much. There are so many brilliant minds that are working on React that it's just hard to ignore. It's hard to ignore. React with the simple stack would simplify your life. It really would. I'm just trying to use Alpine because, I don't know, I like staying in one templating language. There's a benefit to staying in your server-side templating language. It's preference, though. It really is preference. I want to have an opinion, but I also want it to be really easy for you to have an opinion and keep using this stuff. So yeah, I don't know. There's no silver bullet. There's no silver bullet. There will always be detractors. Okay, so now we have our global setup, and I think we're good to go. If I head over to 3001, welcome to WOMP. We have our logo up here. It looks like it's not taking up the full height of the page. I'm not sure how to make that happen. Or I don't know why it's not doing that. So we have class dark on the body. I'm curious what that does. Oh, interesting. So we had a manual light dark mode on here. We weren't using the browser for that. What if client only Astro component? That is basically Alpine. Alpine is adding client only logic to an Astro component. I think you removed something important at the bottom of the CSS file. Perhaps, mayhaps. What is supposed to be at the bottom of the CSS file? Did I modify globals? I did. So let me go ahead and undo everything. We do have this. Yeah, we did remove this. Let's go ahead and add that back. That might be important. That might be important. Yeah, so this is applying BG background to the background. Nice, thank you. I'm an idiot. Appreciate that. So you need a light and dark mode class in order to actually support this. But I would like to respect your browser defaults too. Not that easy to remove border. What is border? Oh, okay. HSL var border. Why does everything have this though? What is -- border? Is this just a... I mean, it's just a color. Why would we want everything to have a border? Doesn't make any sense. Oh, okay. I think I get it. So this is applying a CSS variable. Yeah, it's applying a border color. So that way, when you apply border styles, the border color is already set. So that way you don't have to set it every time. Okay. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. It's not the best, but I think it's fine. I'm going to leave it. Oh, and we also have transition animate none. I wonder why we did that. I'm going to remove it for now. I think it's because we didn't want to fade as the base animation. We just wanted to like snap from one to the next. And I'm actually okay with that, thinking it over. So let's add that. Now we have our main slot. And we have our card view that I probably want to go build. So we have boards as a route. It would be cool if boards wasn't a baseline and it was just kind of worked. But yeah, let's do nested route. board/id.astro. That's going to be where our boards live. And I can't remember if I called it ID or something else. Oh, we actually have a few things in here. We have the edit route and the index route. That's a reasonable way to divide this up. Yep, so let's go ahead and do ID index.astro, and we're going to do edit.astro. These are going to be the view and the edit, of course. We have a special layout that is just for boards. I'll probably move this to a separate folder. I'm kind of souring on underscores inside of the pages because it gets a little annoying to have some things localized and some things in a layouts folder. So I think I'm going to call this the board layout. You know what I mean? Board layout. And I also don't know about duplicating the word layout when it's already in a layouts folder, you know? But oh well. Okay, so we have some icons coming from Radix UI Reacticons. We could use these because, again, it's a server-side template. If you want to reach for React just to render some icons, knock yourself out, kid. Yeah, we have a pencil, a play, and a reload. We can go ahead and install that. It's not really an issue. I don't know. Yeah, we'll probably need to Astro add React, sadly, just to make that work. But we're just using it for server-side templating, so it's very wasteful. Maybe I'll just go find a better icon solution, but I don't want to derail right now. I want to at least have a little bit of stuff going on here. Let me make sure that that's loaded in. And we're going to need, yeah, so we're going to have our board schema, and we're going to have a lib folder where all of that stuff lives. So let me go ahead and jump into the lib, and we're going to look at Lucia at some point. Our schema is all of our tables, and these are the Lucia tables, so we'll want all of that. Okay, we have a TanStack utility because TanStack and Astro are a very funny pairing. Upload thing, which will matter at some point, and utils. Okay. So now let's head over to, make a lib folder. And what do we have? Schema. Perfect. So we have Drizzle ORM. We have node crypto to generate random IDs. That is an option. I'm not sure about it, but I think it'll work. So we have something missing for node types. Do we just need to install that? Let's go ahead and install that. Doesn't have a ton of icons, but I've used heroicons from the Tailwind team. Has SVG versions available. Oh yeah, I should really look at that. Because all these libraries make my head spin for how many icons there are. But this seems cool. Oh, look at that. Yeah, we also have the solid and mini versions. I mean, it looks beautiful. It really does. And they do have React and Vue libraries, so use what you want. I like that. So we can copy the SVGs directly if you want a window shop. Crypto.random UUID? I mean, the destructure works now that we have types. You don't need no crypto to generate UUID. Oh, right. Yeah, isn't random UUID like a... I definitely know it's in the browser, but can you just not do that? I've been using it since I started Tailwind, and last night was the first time they didn't have a basic icon I was looking for. Okay, so that's good to know that you might run into something. Wow, interesting. Okay, so you don't need the import. Wild. I love that. Again, Node is just a cool tool, man. It is a cool tool. So let's remove all of that. And Drizzle, we're going to just use a SQLite adapter at some point. So we're going to say to do adapter, I don't know. And we don't need any of these because maybe we'll use Cloudflare R2 or something. Web crypto for the win. Let's go. Okay. My head is spinning with all the things that we have to do now when I only have like 30 minutes to keep demoing for y'all. So, okay, what are things that we can scope down out of this project so I don't feel overwhelmed? We do have our main layout, and we know the types of all of these. So let's go ahead and make a JavaScript array and display the cards on the page. Then let's write a seed file and a basic SQLite database to see if we can seed the sounds in there. That feels like a good step 1 and 2. If we finish, let's try deploying to render. Let's try deploying after that. For Lucia, replace... Yeah, okay. We're not going to do Lucia today. I don't think so. I do not think so. I'm going to scope this down a bit. Oh, and we don't need this open. Okay. So we have view transitions. We have a link to boards. And that is going to be the logo. So that takes you to your user account in order to look at all of your boards. And that's actually going to be the index route right here. So we'll make an index.astro. This is going to have, well, what does the board layout have in it? So this has, ooh, boy. Okay, interesting. So we make a link look like a button, the classic. We have a slide animation when we go between the toggle of play and pause. We're going to do that later. Don't worry about that too much. But okay, it looks like lib Schema is not working. Let's look at why. So we have types in here. We don't have this. User ID length. Oh, interesting. Good for me, making that something known. I'm just going to restart the extension host, because I've run into this, where the Astro language tools do not keep up with my imports. They just don't. Yeah, and we do have button variants just as a set of classes, and that would be a cool thing to have sitting around. So let's go ahead and grab our button over yonder. Board name input. Dang it. But why don't I just use fuzzy find? Yep, and we will need class variance authority, which is very annoying Tailwind stuff that you need to remove duplicates from your Tailwind classes. And we also need the CN in shadcn, the classic, the OG. And I hate having multiple util folders. We should probably have just one. I guess I just didn't realize that I had a utils folder over here. It doesn't really belong in lib, though. Oh, yeah, look at this. Look at all this pain that we felt just trying to figure out, was there a database error? I'm hoping we can get away from that, because my God, that was a mess. That was a mess to manage. Because Vercel doesn't have any opinions on errors. And I'll tell you right now, PlanetScale doesn't either. These tools do not make it easy to figure out what happened in my database. Why did it fail? It feels like such an oversight. I don't know. Astro has Zod built in. Don't install Zod. You just have Astro/Zod. How about that? And we're just installing the classics. This is a certified hood classics. There we go. So now we have that. Tailwind merge. My God, there's so many. What does class variance authority even do? What does that even do? I feel like there's so many utilities that I'm installing right now. What are these? Get out of my code. What are these? I don't even know. I understand class X. Isn't that the... What does that even do? Okay, so it merges. But why do we need 2 libraries just to handle this? I just feel naive right now. I feel like if I knew more, then I would say, oh yeah, of course we have this. But for now, I'm just like, what? Yeah, I'll just make a button variance.ts. I'll head over to button, and I'll copy out this. What does CVA do? What does it do? You pronounce it as classics? Yeah, I just like it that way. But what is this? I don't know what that is. What is it? Is a small library basically a function that allows you to define variance for the element we want to style. It's literally for variance, and that's it. Okay. Okay, the base, yeah. But why do we need a wrapper? Why do we need the wrapper, though? Can you just make an object? Default class is always applied, and then these are the variants. I can already see your face. Oh, I love that. I'm sure a lot of you are a bit confused. Hey, this looks like way too much work. You said I have an 8-bit brain. Why is it a lot of definition? You're right. This seems quite complex, but trust me, once you try it, you'll feel just like Tailwind did when the first time you used it. It will be weird. It will be confusing, but you will grow to love it. All right, shush. Calm down. But if you end up trying CVA, sure, you love it. Yeah, okay. I mean, sure, but our programming brain is very confused to the if-then-else statement. So it would be great if we could convert the above to something we're already used to, and we can by using an array. Okay, I skipped to the end, which I probably shouldn't have done. But yeah, I hate dealing with dynamic classes. Yeah, I hate dealing with them in JSX. I love dealing with them in Astro. But yeah, this does get intense. Okay, I kind of see what you mean. So, I mean, you're using object syntax, though. So, like, why do we... Yeah, we don't want any of that. So you create the intent. Intent equals primary, and... Yeah, okay, so it translates to that. I just don't know why you need all that. Because I guess I just know Astro class list, which lets you do this in a much simpler way. So we have variance here. And what do we get out of that? Song. Ooh, that would be a really good operator, Spirit of the Dark Woods. I'm happy to at least share it with you. So I'm using YouTube Music right now. And listen to EOF Premieres. This is a fantastic playlist. It's over 1,000 songs long, and it's still updated regularly. So give this a spin. Yes, I absolutely will. Here you go. It's a great playlist. It's just Lo-Fi House and Float House. It's real good. This one is Start Again by Tom Vernon, apparently. So check that one out. It's my favorite list of songs. CVA makes sense if you want to put through into designing the variants, but IDK if it makes sense if you're just raw dogging it. Yeah, I mean, I'm not totally raw dogging it. I guess I'm taking what ShadCN gave me, and I'm just rolling that into my own thing, and I'll modify from here. It's the beauty of ShadCN is you can, take inspiration, grab the bits you want, and walk out. So we don't want the button. We don't really care about that. I'm going to export button variants. And we also just want the utils that we have at our base. We don't need React slot, and we do need class variance authority. I thought we installed that. Am I crazy? Or did we fail to install it? Let me look here. We don't have class variance authority. Odd. Yeah, I mean, it's okay because I'm just grabbing for it. But it just feels like I could use it feels like it's getting around templating languages that make it hard. Because if I do button variants dot, oh, this is an array. Oh, interesting. So, wait, whoa. Let me go to my main layout where I'm using button variants. Oh, I see. So you put in an object that tells it the variant and other things. Does it? Do you have any other properties on this guy? Oh yeah, including all of the, including all of the what are these? The Alpine properties. Those are allowed too. So you can just spread these into it. That's a little weird. So this lets you apply. I just think I think the inference is off. But yeah, you choose your variant. And you can also choose a size, right? And you can set the default variants for that. So you could say variant outline size. No, that doesn't work. I think our inferencing is just really off because it thinks it's a class right now. Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm going to stick with it. I just like to understand my tools a little bit. Okay, so yeah, it's really thinking that I'm inside of Tailwind and I'm not inside of an object. Language tooling issue. But yeah, it looks like it does accept a number of things. Yeah, we'll use it. I understand what it's doing. I think we could get by with something simpler, but the simplest thing to do is copy code you found on the internet, right? So let's just copy code we found on the internet. Cool. Okay, so now we have our button variants, so we can at least use those anywhere in our app. We'll grab this out of components. Button variant, come on. Yeah, cool. So we have that set up. We're not going to validate the session yet. And, well, we should probably just not use this layout until we know what we're doing. Yeah, I'll just leave this with type errors until we have validation and all of that stuff. Because we don't need it for the main layout just yet. We'll have our boards, we have our logo, and we can just kind of roll. We can roll out with this. Okay. So on this, we're going to have our main layout. Let me make sure we have this first. Main layout. Come on. Yeah. Title equals boards. Or maybe we'll do like a womp. Or we'll put it at the end. Cool. And we're going to loop over all of our cards, right? So we have some cards in here already. We have our card. It's set up. It works well enough. We don't need forward ref or anything like that, I don't think, because we're not using React. But we can at least just kind of lazily copy it for now. Card.tsx. And if you didn't know, Astro does have a JSX renderer, so you don't need a framework like React to render JSX on the server. We could even lean on that. It's not something that we advertise, but it is something that you can do. So yeah, I'll just keep it simple for now because we use card in a few key areas. And we're going to create an array of cards right now. Cards, const cards equals, and we're going to import a type from our, what happened? IMT, there we go. From lib schema. Board, right? Yeah. Board dot, and you can do, this isn't working for some reason. I know you can do this. One second. Infer select. Isn't that a thing? Yeah, right there. Oh, type of. Okay. Yeah. This is how you do it. Cool. It's a little funny because it's a JavaScript object and we have to infer the type of that object, but it works. And we're going to make that an array. And we're going to have like ID, yeah, ID of 1, Just fill it out. Just fill it out, man. Okay, what are the properties on this, actually? 1 second. Okay, we have an ID, a name, a user ID, and created at. Name, loading sound, you know. User ID, B Holmes dev, and created as new date. Beautiful. Okay, so now we have a list of cards. And we can render those out with the simple map because we're in JSX. So we're going to say card because we have one. Yep. Oh, no, the card, isn't that like the, yeah, I know what that is. This is what came with the starter template. So we actually want to grab card from here. And this is exported, right? Yeah. So let's delete the card.astro for now. And let's render out card from somewhere. Come on, man. I think if we just do that. Or that. Ah. Okay, it's not finding it. Oh, it's lowercase card. That's all right. So now we have a card. And we have, I think we got a few things for a card. So a card is what? A card. Let's see the usage of card. Yeah, we have card header and card content. Okay, card header and card content. So these will be our links. And we have a count. Okay, so we did a merge between the board and details about the board, I believe. Yeah, all the sounds that are on a board. Okay, so we can ignore that for now. Oh, and I called it cards. Why did I call it cards, actually? These should be boards. Okay. And we can import card header and card content. Add all missing imports is a beautiful command. And we'll just say 0 sounds for now. Okay, so this should have cards rendering to the page. If we did it right. Let's check that out. Welcome to WOMP. And if we head over to boards, CN is not a function. Okay, that's good to know. Not sure why it's not a function. But let's see here. My music. Why is it not a function, actually? I have no idea. So we have our utils folder. Oh, we didn't save it. That would explain it. So we don't want a Vercel Postgres error or unique key constraint error. We can remove those. Non-empty is now like a deprecated function. That's something I've learned. Ooh, and let me just make the index page redirect to boards for now. You know? We'll add a meta tag. Redirect meta tag, please. Come on, Copilot, help me out. Okay, nice. Thank you. That's what I needed. And we'll head over to boards. Lovely. Okay. Oh, yeah, look at that. It works. So if we head over to wherever we're templating this, boards. Yeah, we can just duplicate this to have a few more. Just to make sure they're looking good, and they do. The last thing is a special Tailwind class that I invented a little while ago. And I think it's called, yeah, Grid Template Columns Auto Cards. Auto Cards. Oh my God, I can't. I'm hitting the wrong tab keys. I'm sorry. There's like tabbing between windows, tabbing between browsers, and tabbing between tabs. There's so much to think about. So what did I call it? I don't even remember what I called it. Auto cards. For whatever reason, that doesn't exist, though. Okay, it's grid calls. Okay, so the theme says GIRD. Grid calls auto cards. Let's see that. Okay, so that works. But it's not actually doing what I thought it would. What's up with that? Oh, we have to add grid. Yeah, it doesn't do everything. Okay, nice. Not very gritty. Now it's gritty. Getting gritty with it. And you can see that there's more of a border radius now, which I think looks real nice. Yeah, from here, I would probably just delete the card component and make it look a little bit better. Because this is very stock, and I want it to feel like more personality, more bouncy. Have animations. Sip tea with pinky up. I absolutely will. I absolutely will. Ah. That was a creepy ah. I'm sorry about that. My voice is raspy. I might need just some regular water, actually. That was more than a sip. That was more than a sip right there. Whew. Okay, so I'm running up on time. I'm going to need time to get breakfast before my morning meeting. So I think what I'm going to do now is attempt to get SQLite to work with Drizzle. And potentially write a seed file that does this for me. I don't know. That's ambitious. That is ambitious. But it should work, I hope. So let's learn Drizzle SQLite. SQLite column types. I want to set up a SQLite connection, actually. Yeah, better library for SQLite 3. Yeah, we're just going to use this. Bun SQLite. Sheesh. Sheesh. We could use Terso. We could go to the Edge SQLite database. But I think for now, I'm just going to own it. I'm just going to own my database, man. I'm just going to own it. It's fine. I've also thought about using SQL.js, which is a WASM compilation, because Better SQLite has a lot of dependencies. And SQL.js does not. There's a reason I like it. But yeah, let's go ahead and do Better SQLite here. Let's go ahead and do that. Yo, AJC, what's up, man? You're catching me on the tail end of my stream. The tailwind of my stream, if you will. But yeah, we're spinning up a SQLite database, and we are connecting Drizzle to it. So let's head over to our lib schema. I should probably call this DB, because here we're doing everything. But yeah, let's go ahead and sort this to the top of the list. We just installed Better SQLite, or maybe it's still installing. We need types. Need types. Yep, thank you, Pilcrow. All right, there we go. So now we have our SQL database. I think I called it SQLite, didn't I? No, I called it db.sqlite. It's weird that you can do both. But yeah, there we go. And I think this will go from the root path, but it might look in the current directory. I think it does look in the current directory. We'll find out. All right, cool. So now we have our adapter. I'm actually going to rename this to DB, and I'm going to see if it renames elsewhere in my website. It's supposed to. Let's hope. But yeah, now we have everything set up, I think. Let's see. So we'll head back over here, wherever we're doing this. Nice, it did. So instead of doing this, I guess I'll do a bit of a migration. Well, we're going to need Drizzle to look at our file and do a migration. So I'm going to do that first. Yeah, we want to go over here. We want to go to the Drizzle config. And we want to look at this. So we have export default. That's the schema. Out Drizzle folder. Driver, probably SQLite. We don't need DB credentials because it's right here. It's right here, man. It's next door. Yeah. So let's do that. And we're going to need load env. Very smart of me. But we also don't need an environment, so maybe not. Let's go ahead and install this into dev dependencies, because it's not going to ship to our server. All right. Now we should have a config type. Don't need any of that. SQLite is the driver. Oh, interesting. It's not assignable to type D1. Okay, so can you just say better? See, hang on. Yeah, okay, so you can do that. That's good. So now we just have the driver. The schema is going to be over here. And I'm pretty sure... All right, let's just go to Drizzle Kit, configuring Drizzle Kit. Yeah, TypeScript example, JavaScript example. Schema is going to be the name of the file. Out is going to be where types go, I think. Driver is responsible for explicitly defining that. DB credentials is going to be for PG. SQLite credentials, this should be the path to the local SQLite file. That is funny that DB credentials are just credentials. I own the file. Here's where the file is. It's not really credentials, but I get that having a generic tool for any database provider is going to make things a little bit complicated. So this is going to be, yeah, it's not that. SQLite.db. Yeah, cool. So this should be the driver, and then this is going to be source/lib/db. Perfect. And that should be everything we need to do a Drizzle Kit migration. Yeah, Drizzle Kit push SQLite? Maybe? Let's find out. Nice. I think it worked. No changes detected. Well, you didn't do anything yet. Is there an init command? Is there something I have to run first? Quick start. So we installed Drizzle Kit. We put the schema down. Add the generate command. Oh yeah, that would be helpful. So you can call generate. That creates a migration file. Now let's do the first migration on our database. All right, so they recommend migrations to kick us off. Very interesting. So how do you run the migration on the database? They didn't even do that. Oh yeah, they await migrate and they go to the migrations folder. That's not quite what I was expecting them to recommend for a quick start, but okay. Huh. Well, all right, I'm willing to do it because I do like migration files. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's do pm generate SQLite, I think. Sorry. Drizzle Kit generate SQLite. Let's find out. It found 0 tables. That's not good. So I think it's just failing to find the file. But if we look at our Drizzle folder, we have journal.json. That's the starting point. But yeah, 0 tables means that it's not finding it. Yeah, it's in source/lib/db. And we exported a ton of tables from here. Huh. Well, that's annoying. No config path provided. Using Drizzle. Yeah, you did. Reading config file that. What the heck? What am I missing? Because that's totally the path to the file. You're still using a Postgres schema? Ooh, no. Oh, buddy, you're right. Oh, man, we're going to have to rewrite all these. I don't have time to do that, sadly. Oh, my God. Squeal core. Squeal core. Okay. That is totally a genre, squeal core. SQLite table, yeah. Okay. All right, SQLite table. Why is that a problem? Oh my God. Okay, so we don't want big int anymore. No more big ints. This is now just int. No more varchar. We don't do varchars here. We do text. We do text, baby. We don't need, where we're going, we don't need length. Oh, can you do length? You actually can. I didn't know that. Okay, so no more timestamps. All my homies use datetime. But yeah, you would have to do like a special setup here. So I've done this before. Let's see if they updated their examples for this. Custom types. Or actually, I think, because I talked to the team about this, because they recommended a timestamp that was based on numbers, and I said, no, you need to use ISO strings. So if I'm right, the Drizzle team should now have a setup that uses ISO strings. Date, custom column, data types, maybe that. Column constraints, customizing the column type. Oh, this is new. So you have big int, you have boolean, you have blob, text. And I don't know if they have the mode that I'm looking for, but let's see. Yeah, and oh yeah, we have to duplicate all of these. Mode? Yeah. JSON or text? Nah, they didn't do it. But I think they have a custom type reference to at least make this a little bit better. Because they have a type to make a number act like a date time, but that's not what you want. It's really not. So let's see here. Do they just have date? Do they just have it? No, they don't. I swear I talked to the team about this. I don't know where it is. Lucia auth. Okay, nice. You can remove the length. Yeah, it doesn't do anything. Fortunately, you only need integers and text. It does make things simple, doesn't it? The simple stack, you might say. You might say it. Okay, so yeah, here we have some recipes for timestamps. So this is roughly... Okay, so this is actually for Postgres, probably. I said so many qualifiers there. Okay, MySQL data types. They don't have any examples for this. Well, dang it. I know I have one, but it's in certain code that I can't reach for right now. There's no date, really? Yeah, so you can do something like this. Let's think. Const date equals custom type. Yeah, and it's going to have to take in the name. It's going to have to be a function, I think. But does custom type? No, the custom type doesn't need the name of it. So yeah, this is where things get a little funky, because you just need to know the data types. I'm speed running this right now. I'm speed running. So yeah, date is that. Driver data is a string. And config, there shouldn't be any need for that because you don't. Well, we're just not going to support it right now. Yeah. So now you can say data type. I think you just want to driver and from driver. Yeah, something like that. And data should be a date. Cool. Date.toSI string. ToISO string. And then you can do something like that. It looks like we're missing something, though. Property data type is missing. In type. Oh, interesting. Okay, that makes sense. That makes some sense. Data type. What is data type, actually? So you can take the config if you want it, but I'm pretty sure you can just say, yeah, okay. And this can just be... Yeah, I think it's just text. Yeah, it's just text. Okay, cool. So that's the simple date type right there. So the ORM handles date objects for us, so we don't have to think about it. But yeah, timestamps are a different beast. And you can also have default now, which is kind of crazy that you can do that. I love that. Yeah. We probably want to do something like this. And you can do this if you want a runtime default. I thought. Oh, okay. So you need to call it probably. Yeah, there we go. Default. As long as it returns a date or some thing. So yeah, there's actually a default in SQLite SQLite default current timestamp. Yeah, you can do something like this. SQLite current. I'm just making sure I have this. It's GM not a time. Oh no, storing. Yeah, it's considered best practice. Yeah. Grr. I know that there's a way to do this. Yeah. What? SQLite. Their docs are usually good. SQLite documentation is actually pretty good. Yeah, let me just see if we have something. Date and time functions. There we are. Oh my god. So you can just call the date function, but that's not what you do for default values. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty dang sure that all you have to do is this. And it works. Pretty sure that just works. Pretty dang sure. Pretty dang sure. Could be wrong, but I'm pretty dang sure. And I could even elevate that somewhere if I wanted to. But yeah, I know that SQLite has a primitive, and I'm just going to pray that that's it. I'm pretty sure you don't even need the runtime function. I think you can just say default that. Or that, yeah. I'm pretty sure you can just do that. Because it doesn't need to... If you use the function, then you can generate it from the ORM level. It's like business logic. But here I'm doing it a little bit differently. So we have our board ID that references that. Everything else is looking pretty good, actually. So UUID doesn't exist. That is not a primitive. Timestamp doesn't exist either. So we got to figure that out. Okay, it was just that one. Good. So UUID does not exist. That is not a thing. And you can see we already have a default here. So we can update this to text pretty easily, I think. So let's just call these text. And we have a runtime default in order to generate those. Because MySQL also doesn't have a, or Postgres doesn't have a UUID function. MySQL does. Okay. So overall, I'm feeling pretty good about this. I expected date to be a built-in, but it wasn't. But we wrote one. Stupid ads. I should sub. Oh, I'm running ads. I guess I have it on auto. That's the first time I've heard a viewer talk about ads. I'm missing adding Lucia auth. No. We haven't added Lucia auth. Don't worry, we haven't done it. I don't think we're going to have time, though. Yeah, I'm way over time. But okay, cool. So now we have that. Oh, yeah, the last thing. We don't care about the length of the ID anymore. We're going to delete that. We don't care. Yeah, we don't care. Because we're not in an environment that cares. Very simple. Okay, so now let's go ahead and generate. Nice. SQL migration file generated. So let's take a look at that. If we take a look at Drizzle, yeah, so it generates a totally random key based on just names. I like that. We created this. We referenced that. Okay, and we also have foreign key constraints. That's a lovely thing, having foreign key constraints. Remember those? Those were cool, right? Sorry, Planscal. So we have our user session. I'm looking for where we have the... Yeah, okay, cool. Default current timestamp not null. That's exactly what I was looking for. I normally think you should use ISO string. Really? Should I use UTC? Because I noticed that. I could do that. But the best practice seems to be storing as date strings. Would you recommend a different date string? Yeah. I should check on that. I should really check on that. No, the format is a bit different. Okay, I'm going to have to check. Because I also did something for work that kind of assumed that they were the same. So I might have to go back and check if I broke everything. Replace T as slice. Oh, God, I'm not doing that, but good to know. We back on the soundboard, still doing Alpine in the to-do list. We are adding Alpine to the soundboard. Well, we're really trying to get all of our database infra set up. Because the simple stack has many opinions. We're trying to use SQLite, we're trying to use Astro, and we're using Alpine where necessary. It's a holistic sort of thing. So I'm going to commit what I have, because I'm definitely up on time. I'm sorry. We have a bajillion dependencies, and it would be cool to iron out what we actually need. Deps, a lot of them. Yep, we're just going to add all of that. We're going to add in these things. Oh, I forgot to add my minimum Tailwind config. So let's go ahead and add that. Chore Tailwind config. And also, what is this doing? Oh, okay. All right. Chore TS config. We have our Drizzle config. And this is all of our database stuff. We're also going to add our DB and source lib. Very cool. Feat Drizzle SQLite with first migration. Very cool. And then these are just like our baselines, right? So we have our main layout, we have our global, we have our utils. And I don't think main layout cares about button variants. Yeah, cool. Feat base layout. And I'm going to try to start using scoping like that. All right, Feat UI board page with dummy data. All right, so all this is pushed up onto the WOMP repo if people want to play with it or do whatever the heck. So I'm going to head over to there. And I think it's just on beyonddev/WOMP. Fantastic. So if y'all want to check out the source code, head over here. Otherwise, I'm a busy man, and I need to get to work. So let me go ahead and raid someone good so that y'all can have a nice rest of your morning. Sorry about that. Looking up people. Daniel Rowe, that's an easy one. Sup? Oh, no. Yeah, sorry. I've been streaming all morning, so I gotta cut the line somewhere. But yeah, we'll do a raid, and there's no autocomplete, but I think I got it. Womp womp. But hey, the repo's there. Join me on whiteboardtheweb.dev/chat. We're going to be chatting about the simple stack and all of our deployment options. We're going to talk about where do you like hosting stuff? That's what I want to know. Hop over to this URL right here and tell me, what do you use for deployment? And do you like it? Because I want to find the simplest way to deploy a node server somewhere. You know, I want to avoid edge runtimes. I want to be able to use SQLite. I just want to know. My timing is impeccable. Well, there's always at least one person that joins at the wrong time. At least I didn't get raided at the last minute. So yeah, anyways, Discord. Join the Discord. And tell me what you use for deployment, because I really want to find a best practice there. Otherwise,